Why CSS? When web pages were first created, HTML was used to define the structure and content. But as websites grew more complex, people needed a way to control how things looked: colors, fonts, spacing, layouts. That's where CSS, cascading style sheets, came in. It separates content, HTML, from presentation, CSS, making pages easier to design and maintain. What you will learn. This explanation will give you a basic idea of CSS, what it is, why it exists, how it works, and how to use it within an HTML page. It will briefly touch on the history of CSS, its main concepts, and then walk you through how to write and link CSS with HTML. A brief history of CSS. CSS was introduced by the W3C World Wide Web Consortium in 1996. Before that, HTML alone was used to style pages, which became messy and repetitive. CSS made it possible to apply consistent design across many pages. Over time, CSS evolved through several versions, with CSS 3 being the most commonly used today. Each version introduced more control over animations, layout, and responsiveness. What is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It is a language that describes how HTML elements should appear on screen, paper, or in other media. Think of HTML as the skeleton and CSS as the clothes that style it. CSS can control layout, color, font, spacing, borders, shadows, and even animations. How CSS works. CSS targets HTML elements using selectors and applies rules to them. A CSS rule consists of a selector and a declaration block. The declaration block contains properties and their corresponding values. Example, CSSP, color blue, font size 16px. This targets all P paragraph elements and sets their text color to blue and font size to 16 pixels. Cascading and specificity. Cascading means that when multiple rules could apply to the same element, the browser has a system to decide which one to apply. This is based on specificity, how closely a selector matches, and source order, which comes later. Ways to use CSS in HTML. Inline CSS. CSS written directly in an HTML element using the style attribute. HTML style color red. This is red text. Internal CSS. CSS written inside a style tag in the head section of an HTML file. HTML.tud style p color green. This is green text. External CSS. CSS written in a separate .css file and linked to the HTML file. HTML link rel style sheet ref styles.cs head. This is styled from an external CSS file. Styles.css CSSP color purple. Basic structure of CSS. Each CSS rule has two main parts. Selector targets the HTML element. Declaration block defines what the element should look like. Example, CSS H1, background color yellow, text align center. Grouping and nesting. You can group selectors with commas, CSS H1, H2, H3, font family Arial, and with tools like SCSS, a CSS preprocessor, you can nest rules, but basic CSS does not support deep nesting. Conclusion: CSS lets you separate content from design, write cleaner code, and style multiple elements efficiently. Start by writing basic rules, experiment with colors and fonts, then grow into layout systems like Flexbox and Grid. By combining HTML's structure and CSS's styling, you can create beautiful, functional web pages.
If you're enjoying the content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a comment. I would really appreciate it. I love hearing what you think, Hank, and your support helps the channel grow big time. Thanks for being here. It means a lot. Let's